Appalling archive. William George Bonin. The Freeway Strangler. Bonin was an American serial killer and repeat offender that was suspected of killing more than 21 people. Starting as a young teen, he violated several neighborhood children. In 1969, as a young adult, he was indicted on 5 counts of kidnapping, and 6 counts of different types of assault against 5 different boys that he had abducted and violated. He was sentenced to the Atascadero State Hospital in June 1969 as a mentally disordered offender considered amenable to treatment. Bonin was released in 1974, after doctors concluded he was no longer a danger to the health and safety of others. In 1975, Bonin was arrested for 2 more brutal assaults. Upon his arrest, he warned law enforcement that next time there won't be any more witnesses. He was sentenced to serve between 1 and 15 years imprisonment, where he was subjected to additional psychiatric examination. In prison, Bonin completed mathematics courses and training as a machinist in order to secure employment. He also showed progress in individual therapy sessions. As a result, he was released from detention in 1978 with 18 months of supervised probation. He went on to torture and murder at least 14 young men and boys in Southern California. Bonin would lure his targets into his van under the guise of consensual acts. They were then assaulted, extensively beaten, and tortured, before typically being killed by strangulation with their own T-shirts and a tire iron. He became known as the Freeway Killer because he would dump most of the bodies beside freeways. In 1980, after receiving a confidential tip, investigators began surveillance of Bonin. After almost a week of uneventful surveillance, plainclothes police observed Bonin unsuccessfully attempting to lure 5 separate boys into his van, before succeeding in luring one. The police followed Bonin until he parked at a service station close to the Hollywood Freeway, then discreetly approached the vehicle. Upon hearing screams and banging sounds coming from inside the van, the officers forced their way inside. They discovered Bonin forcing himself on a 17-year-old boy whom he had handcuffed and bound. On many occasions, he was helped by one of his 4 known accomplices. One of them, Vernon Buds, was listed in court as an accomplice for 12 of the murders. Sheriffs said he was found hanging from a towel rack in his one-man hospital room cell before his trial. It was determined that he took his own life, but Butt's attorney was skeptical. The towel had been twisted around his neck in the same manner that many of the Freeway Killer targets were strangled with their own T-shirts. Bonin eventually confessed to committing 21 murders, but was only convicted of 14, and is suspected of even more. Bonin's 2 trials took place in Los Angeles County and Orange County in California, where he operated. He was described by the prosecutor at his first trial as the most arch-evil person who ever existed. He spent 14 years on death row before his execution by lethal injection at San Quentin State Prison in 1996. He was the first prisoner in California to be put to death using this method. Please like and subscribe for more.